and I've been on renal dialysis now since June 4th, 2007. For the first 6 months I was cannulating in the main hospital, and for the last 2.5 years I was down in the annex in Morriston Hospital. The treatment I had in both places was first class, but as I was on the evening shift, that is leaving the house about 4:30ish and sometimes not getting home till 11:30 to midnight, I felt it was time for a change and perhaps to get a little bit more control of my own life. I had no thoughts about going back home to do my dialysing until, of course, this self-care unit opened in Morriston. And in finding a chat with the doctor, Dr. Williams, who suggested it might not be a bad idea if I considered it, I decided to take the plunge, and I contacted Gail Williams, who runs the unit, with a view to starting myself dialysing. Gail was most enthusiastic, and I put my name on the list. Following a few weeks later after that, she gave me a ring to say that there was a place available and if I'd like to be able to go. So on June the 4th of this year, we came down, and my wife Gaynor often comes down with me. It's been a big asset, that, which I'll come out to it afterwards. And they came in rather nervously, wondering if I'd be able to attempt it. But my aim overall is to get back home so I can dialyse in the house. So the first day I came down, Gail did all the work, and came to the stage where I was coming off the machine, and Gail just suggested perhaps I should take my own needles out. This came a little bit of a surprise in the first day, but nevertheless we did it, and at that point it was great. I really felt elated, and I arrived on the Monday morning more in hope than expectation, and I left with more expectation than hope. Since then, over the past 7 or 8 weeks, I've progressed stage by stage, learning more about my illness, and that's been an important thing, as to what's gone wrong and what can be done to help the cause. I know it can't be cured. And as a result, over the last 6 or 7 weeks, we've now learned to tube up the machine without too many problems, and to prime it, to put myself on with help from Gail, and to take myself off subsequently. The one point now that we're at is the cannulation. So I can put the sharp needles in, the blunt needles await me, and that will be a little sticking point, I'm sure. But I'm quite sure with Gail's help we'll get there in the end. I don't know how long it's going to take before I will get home. Hopefully it won't be too long, and if that is achieved, then obviously I'll get back more control of my life. This is what I'm hoping. I'll be able to dialyse at home as and when I wish. I know I'll have to dialyse more often. Instead of 3 times a week, it might be 6. But it can be shorter periods, and it can be maybe in the morning, maybe in the night, so it'll give far more flexibility for our lives. I mentioned earlier that my wife Gaynor comes down with me 2 days a week, and Gaynor is doing lots of things and learning a lot, mainly setting up the trays, taking the tubing off the machine when they're finished, disinfecting everything, cleaning, and it's been a great asset to me. And I'd recommend anyone who has possible assistance to consider it, because it is worthwhile. And it's going to be particularly helpful when we eventually go home, because Gaynor will be well versed in
I'm the lead nurse for the Renal Services at Morriston Hospital, which is part of the Abertawe Bromagana University Health Board. The renal unit here has been open for well over 25 years now, and during that time we've had a number of problems in terms of capacity. We've always had more patients than we've often been able to provide dialysis facilities for. So about a year ago we embarked on a project to, what it really is, to reintroduce the concept of self-care back into the hemodialysis unit. We started this project first of all by assessing all of our patients for self-care and looking at those patients particularly that could actually undertake dialysis for themselves. And this was led not by myself but by one of our very enthusiastic senior staff nurses within the department, who has actually been nicknamed Mrs. Motivator as a result of this, because she has the ability to be able to get patients perhaps to undertake the treatment when they hadn't actually been thinking about that this was a possibility for them. We are now sort of a 12-month on from that, and during that time we have been able to successfully send home 6 patients onto hemodialysis in their own homes. We've also been able to train a further 6 patients, which is what is currently sort of happening in the unit. We have been asked today to undertake an open day to encourage other renal units across Wales to potentially take up this form of self-care for dialysis. So we have, in fact, today had an invited audience. We're aware that not all of the patients will be able to undertake dialysis at home. Perhaps they haven't got a house that will enable them to do that. Perhaps they don't have the support mechanisms for them to be able to do that. But that should not really be a barrier to providing this form of treatment. So we're also able to offer for patients to actually learn dialysis, which helps to empower them. They have more flexibility over their treatment, but that they can then still come to the unit, be trained how to do this and undertake dialysis in our purpose-built sort of self-care dialysis area.